education, distinguished guests, and fellow community members. My name is Ishika Narsingani, and I'm here today on behalf of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council to speak on the graduate core competencies within the context of my academic experience. Let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. I am a junior here at Peachtree Ridge High School, and I have attended GCPS all of my life. I am currently the junior secretary of our school's National Honor Society, and will proceed to be the senior secretary next school year. I hold the historian officer position for our school's MU National Honor Society. I am the treasurer of our psychology club, as well as the recycling director of our green team. I am honored to be an alumni of the Model Atlanta Regional Commission and the Sewanee Youth Leaders programs, all of which have allowed me to discover new passions and network with my peers.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chelsy. I'm a freshman at Peachtree Ridge, and I've been in the GCPS system since first grade. It's kind of intimidating to be standing here with Ishika, but I think I'm pretty qualified because I shook hands with Dr. Watts 3 times. Yes, I've been keeping count. At Ridge, I'm involved in mainly student council and chorus. Although I won't be sporting the cap and gown until 2026, I know I'm on the path to success because I exhibit core competencies of GCPS's Portrait of a Graduate.
Now that you've got a glimpse of the graduate competencies, one that stood out to me in particular is collaborative leadership. As high school students, we are often encouraged to be leaders in our own right. We are encouraged to take initiative, be proactive, and work hard to achieve our goals. But what if I told you that there is a better way to lead? A way that involves working closely with others, sharing responsibilities, and creating a culture of collaboration. This is where collaborative leadership comes into play. Now, I want to situate this into the context of 2023. We live in a fast-paced, constantly changing environment where the challenges we face are becoming more complex and difficult to solve. In such an environment, we need those leaders who can work as a team and bring together different perspectives and ideas to find innovative solutions to these challenges. So, by practicing collaborative leadership, we can create a more inclusive and equitable school environment. But why is collaborative leadership so important? Well, have you ever tried to play a game of tug of war completely by yourself? Trust me, it's not very effective. Think about it. When leaders collaborate with their team members, they are bringing different perspectives to the table. And they are creating a more diverse pool of ideas and opinions. This not only leads to more creative and effective solutions, but also helps to build a culture where every student voice is heard and valued. Now, I'd like to take this graduate core competency and place it into the context of my own academic experience. And to do that, I'd like to call your attention to the PowerPoint slide on screen. Take a close look at the pyramid on the left. This pyramid outlines the distinct steps of the engineering design process, which is a series of steps that engineers follow to find the solution to a problem. I used this exact pyramid in my sophomore year when I was designing and developing a science fair project. This was a year-long project in which my partner and I carried out an experiment to explore a scientific problem. So, back to the pyramid. This pyramid is actually read from the bottom to the top. As you can see, the very first step of the engineering design process is to conduct research and define the problem. My science fair project was centered around the growing problem of microplastics in our aquatic environments. The next step is to generate ideas and assess how practical they are. After a lot of brainstorming, my partner and I decided to model microplastics plastics by using two types of glitter. We use conventional and biodegradable glitter. Conventional glitter is just plastic-based glitter that you can find at any craft store. And biodegradable glitter is a cellulose-based type of glitter that is a newly proposed solution by scientists to the growing plastic problem. It is designed to degrade and break down significantly faster than conventional plastic-based glitter, and thereby be better for our environment. Moving forward, the third and fourth steps are to take action to conduct the experiment. My science fair partner and I conducted several trials and several experiments to determine how the two different types of glitter affected the survival and reproduction of unicellular algae. After this, in order to improve our methods, my partner and I sought the guidance of our AP Biology teacher, Mr. Wellmaker, who played a very crucial role in guiding us through the science fair process. So a huge shout out to him. Lastly, my partner and I presented our science fair project to judges at the Gwinnett County Science Fair competition. And I'm so proud to announce that my project won first place for Earth and Environmental Science, which earned me a spot at the Georgia State Science and Engineering Fair. This was such a profound experience, and I'm truly so grateful for this life-changing opportunity that taught me the importance of effective collaborative leadership.
My dream job is to be a doctor, but my mom has always told me I'd make a good businesswoman. I thought she said this because I look pretty cute in a blazer, but until last year when I became the unofficial head of marketing for Student Council. In 8th grade, I was Hull Middle School's Vice President of Service. It was a year out of quarantining because of COVID, and our numbers weren't looking that great. In a desperate attempt to connect to Hull's student body, we created StuCo's first ever Instagram page. Although this wasn't a new idea for most high schools, middle schoolers, or middle schools have never taken advantage of kids' growing social media use, which was even more prevalent after COVID. I know what you're thinking. These kids and their iPhones. Back in my day, I used to have fun by going outside. First off, I know you were scrolling through Facebook the other day, and also the new cool app is Instagram. So if you're gonna lie, at least get with the times. Like us, because get with the times we did. Along with the communications officer, I managed the Instagram page and grew to 200 followers in the first year. Reaching our goals, our peers in this new way, had a substantial impact on our fundraising goals. At the end of the year, we ended up raising $2,300 for Relay for Life and Bird's Big Adventure, which respectively fund cancer research and Disney trips for terminally ill children. Receiving the distinction of Rising Star Team at the end of the year Relay for Life event was so rewarding because it meant I did my job well as Vice President of Service. However, the ripples of change that were created by our little pebble of an idea were still present after I graduated middle school. This year, I was invited back to Hull to help as a student advisor. Imagine my shock after seeing that Student Council's member count increased by 250%, from 20 members to over 70, and almost all 70 members applied for one of 8 officer positions. Now, I can't disclose whether or not anybody got hurt during election season, but on the bright side, it's certainly filled with ambitious students who will soon come up to Ridge and shake things up. The resourceful idea of utilizing social media not only brought success during my time as VP, but it also had lasting effects on my community. Now, as I'm gearing up for election season at Ridge, my mission as outreach chair is to do as I did last year, create innovative ideas that ultimately benefit those around me.
And that brings us to our third graduate core competency that Chelsy and I felt deserves special recognition. Let me start by telling you a little story. Once upon a time, I was in a group project with some of my classmates. We all had different ideas on how to tackle the project. And needless to say, our communication skills were lacking. We ended up with a presentation that was a hot mess. filled with a bunch of half-baked ideas, incomplete sentences, and, not to mention, awkward pauses. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. But let me tell you, that experience taught me a very valuable lesson about the importance of communication. If we had just taken the time to listen to each other clearly and communicate our ideas, we could have avoided the disaster that was our presentation. So, what's the moral of the story? Communication isn't just about talking. It's about listening, too. And when we don't communicate effectively, things can get off the rails pretty quickly. And what exactly is effective communication, you may ask? Well, it's not just about speaking clearly or using fancy words. It's about being able to convey your ideas and thoughts in a way that others can understand. And let's face it, as teenagers, we often struggle with that. We have a language of our own, filled with acronyms, slang, and emojis that can leave adults scratching their heads. But think of communication as a key to success. It can open doors that you never knew existed and lead to opportunities beyond your imagination.
When I first stepped into Mrs. Wyatt's room and saw the students in chorus, I was surprised that there were so many football players. This was because if you wanna be cool, follow one simple rule. Don't mess with the flow, no, no. Stick to the status quo. High School Musical. Although a great movie, it wasn't so accurate. I've since learned that students at Ridge and in chorus are diverse in more than just interests and hobbies. In fact, Peachtree Ridge is the third most diverse public high school in Georgia. That word gets thrown around a lot, but diversity itself isn't inherently positive. It can be a dividing line between groups, or it can be what brings people together. Ultimately, the goal is to achieve unity while still celebrating our differences, and one environment that fosters diversity is chorus. In chorale at Ridge, I'm surrounded by students of all different backgrounds. In All-State Chorus, I've sung with 249 other students from across the state, in Hungarian, Latin, and a South African dialect. Most don't understand those languages, but every note and phrase convey more than the words themselves could. Chorus has fostered in me a sense of harmony. Singing creates music directly from the body, within the vocal cords. Each part is crucial, and sheet music becomes something like magic when our voices combine and to transcend barriers. This means that, unlike instrumentalists, every person's body and soul goes into the music that we make as a choir, each one coloring the sound in a distinctive way. My voice, influenced by my Vietnamese upbringing and other parts of my identity, has a role to play in every chorus that I'm a part of. Embracing diverse cultures and unique perspectives in chorus has taught me to apply it to every part in my life. Every singer's voice in a choir is important, just as every student's voice in a school is important, regardless of race, gender, language, and other barriers that might separate us.
All in all, these graduate core competencies have instilled in us specific qualities that we both will take with us on our journey beyond high school and into college. I'd like to leave you with a quote from Dr. Watts himself that he said at one of our Superintendent Student Advisory Council meetings. He said, and I quote, "Leadership cannot be done as well when it's done by oneself." Thank you, Dr. Watts, for continuing to guide us as we progress through our academic journey.
We would like to thank the Superintendent Student Advisory Council and all of its members for helping us develop these competencies at each of our meetings centered around student voice. We thank our parents for being our first teachers and creating the basis of our beliefs and values. Lastly, we thank Dr. Watts, Mrs. Laramie, and Mr. J for this opportunity to share a little bit about ourselves in front of such an important audience and perhaps play a role in changing the education of Gwinnett for better.
Thank you.